Before Prohibition, one woman took it upon herself to rid America of alcohol. But instead of trying to change laws, she tried to destroy each and every bottle of liquor she saw with a hatchet. That woman's name was Carrie Nation. Born in Kentucky in 1846, the strange spelling of her name, C-A-R-R-Y, instead of the conventional C-A-R-R-I-E, was the result of an error her father made while he recorded her birth in the family Bible. Later in life, she would consider that error to be prophetic when her second marriage resulted in her name being Carrie Nation, as she attempted to carry a nation to safety from the dangers of that sinful slough known as alcohol. She wasn't born hating alcohol, but the circumstances of her life caused her beverage-based rage to reach a boiling point. When she was 19, she got her first kiss from a handsome young doctor named Charles Gloyd, surely a dream scenario for any young woman. In any event, it was love at first kiss, and the couple promptly married and had a baby on the way. However, unfortunately for Carrie, it wasn't the dream scenario she thought it was. Despite being handsome, charming, and a doctor, Charles was also a hopeless alcoholic. Within 2 years of their marriage, Charles drank himself to death. Carrie remarried in 1874, but needless to say, the loss of her first husband to alcohol made a lasting impression on her. Carrie's new husband's name was David Nation, so now her name officially was Carrie Nation. They settled in Medicine Lodge, Kansas, which is the name of a town, in 1889. Kansas had been dry, meaning alcohol was illegal, since 1880, but of course, there was booze all over the place, even though it was illegal, in taverns, restaurants, and drugstores where alcohol was sold as medicine. She was the head of the local chapter of the Women's Christian Temperance Union. Carrie first tried to bring about change and end the scourge of illegal alcohol with peaceful protests, but nothing changed and no action was taken. Then, in 1900, Carrie Nation claimed to have a dream that showed her what she must do next. In the dream, a voice told her to, quote, "Go to Kiowa and start smashing. The voice of God or a psychotic break we'll never know, but go to Kiowa and start smashing is exactly what Carrie Nation did. The next morning, as she cheerfully prepared breakfast for her husband as she did every morning, she also kept stepping outside to collect rocks and loose chunks of brick in her apron. That afternoon, after David had headed off to work, Carrie hitched a horse to her buggy, loaded that bad boy up with all the rocks and bricks she could find, and set off for the nearby town of Kiowa. Her first stop was an establishment called the Refreshment Stand, owned by a man named John Dobson. When Dobson confronted Carrie, she calmly said to him, "Get out of the way. I do not want to strike you, but I am going to break this place up." Then, using the rocks and bricks she had collected earlier in the morning, she did in fact break the place up. She aimed at and shattered a large mirror, glasses, alcohol bottles, and bar fixtures, all while singing hymns, of course. After she had smashed everything to her liking, Carrie again approached John Dobson, who at this point was cowering in the back room, and she proclaimed, "Mr. Dobson, I have finished. God be with you." Then she left and headed to the next bar, and then another bar, and another, and so on and so forth, smashing up every bottle of alcohol she could for the remainder of the day. How did she just get away with it? Well, she had all the leverage. Police completely ignored her raid because the places she was smashing up and the alcohol she was destroying was technically illegal anyway. All she was doing was destroying illegal property. On her day of smashing, she wrote later in her autobiography, "My strength was that of a giant. I felt invincible. God was certainly standing by me." That December, Carrie headed to Wichita to do her thing again, and she smashed up the exceedingly fancy Carrie Hotel bar, including a racy picture of a nude Cleopatra at the bath and a mirror which was valued at $1,500. Unfortunately for Carrie, by including valuable property in her smashings that wasn't illegal, like expensive mirrors and pictures, police couldn't just look the other way, and this Carrie Hotel bar incident landed her in jail. The sheriff, bent on making life miserable for her since he himself enjoyed a nice stiff drink every once in a while, gave cigarettes to other inmates to smoke right in her face. He put known lunatics in the cell next to hers, and took away her bed and made her sleep on the stone floor. She was released on January 12, 1901, sick and weakened by the experience. But not too sick and weak to call it a day, no sir. By the end of January, she was ready to get right back at it, and now she knew she had to up her game. She graduated from throwing rocks and bricks to wielding a hatchet. From then on, she called her raids on bars hatchetations, and she traveled from state to state, swinging her hatchet and smashing up bottles of alcohol in any establishment that served it. Her hatchetations and the fact that she was an older lady running around with a hatchet smashing things in the name of Christ made her famous. Soon, crowds began to greet her when she came to their city, and before you knew it, Carrie Nation started gathering some followers and fellow believers in her cause to carry this nation away from sin. To raise money for her cause, Carrie Nation performed in a vaudeville show as, quote, the famous and original barroom smasher. She also sold pins with hatchets on them. Carrie died when she was 65, but her crowning achievement would come 8 years after her death when the 18th Amendment passed and Prohibition went into full effect. Though she didn't directly pass the amendment, Carrie Nation and her hatchet-swinging antics are credited with raising the awareness of the temperance issue to the point of making the 18th Amendment possible. Though Prohibition did take hold, Carrie would have likely been disappointed by the results. Though it was illegal, alcohol never stopped flowing in America, despite the best efforts of a lady and her hatchet. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more of history's weirdness that you won't find in your textbooks. All those textbooks that you had to give back. No one has their textbooks anymore, right? I don't have mine. Anyway, there's this video here, there's this one here, there's more stuff here, there's more good stuff. If you liked it, stick around.